I will never tell my parents how my grandparents really died. They wouldn't believe me if I did. You probably won't either. It started about a month ago. I had just finished class when I noticed a voicemail from my father. My mom would call from time to time since I left for college, but not my dad. I knew something was wrong. Son, we're buying you a plane ticket. You need to fly home tonight. There has been an accident. Call me when you get this. I called him back right away. He explained that my grandfather had died in a combined accident while harvesting corn, and the shock of finding him had caused my grandmother to have a heart attack. The flight home was miserable. I hate small spaces, and not being able to smoke made it worse. I spent most of the flight pacing back and forth to the restroom just to move around. My dad was waiting when I landed, ruining my plan to sneak a cigarette. Desperate, I lit one in the parking garage. He gave me a look, but all he said was, "That's a nice lighter." I handed it to him and told him my girlfriend, Ellen, bought it for me at an antique store. He nodded and handed it back, only telling me no smoking in the car. When we got home, my mom hugged me and commented, "Your father used to smoke menthols too." I wasn't sure if I should be embarrassed she caught me or shocked to learn that about my dad. That night, we caught up, and eventually my dad told me about the funeral. Both caskets were closed. My grandfather's injuries were too gruesome, and they didn't want people asking about my grandmother. The next day, we went to the funeral. It was small. Most of my grandparents' friends were gone. Later, over dinner, my dad told me they were going to sell the farm. They couldn't afford the upkeep. "If you can take a week off school to clean the place up, we'll give you 25% of whatever we get." I agreed. When I asked how bad it was, they exchanged a look. My mother said, "Your grandfather had dementia. Between that and their health, I imagine the place is a mess." The next day, my dad drove me to the farm. As we pulled in, I noticed a scarecrow looming over the corn at the edge of the field. "When did they get that thing?" I asked. My dad didn't answer, but I saw his face tense, a mix of worrying and fear. Once inside, I started sorting through my grandparents' things. The phone rang. It was the delivery guy with my boxes, lost without GPS. I gave him directions, mentioning the scarecrow as a landmark. Later, while cleaning the kitchen, I heard a scream from the cornfield. It was faint at first, but then again someone in pain. I rushed outside and stood at the edge of the field. The corn was bone white from sun exposure. The wind rattled the dry stalks, but I heard it again, a scream. I ran into the field, calling out, but no one answered. I ran, I don't know how far, but I didn't stop until I heard the rumble of a truck. I stumbled out of the field and nearly got hit by the delivery guy. He yelled at me for nearly getting run over, but I just muttered something about hitting my head. He didn't ask any more questions. Back at the house, I found a letter my grandmother had written to my father. In it, she explained that a man had given them the scarecrow as a gift, claiming it would help their crop. My grandfather initially refused, but the man insisted. Now, my grandmother wrote, my grandfather was convinced the scarecrow was responsible for their good harvest, but also believed it wouldn't let him harvest the corn. I needed a smoke. I went outside, lit a cigarette, and tried to clear my head. That's when I saw it, the scarecrow. It had moved. It was now closer to the house, standing just 20 feet into the field. As I stared, it jumped off its post. The post shot up into the air and vanished. Before I could process what I was seeing, the scarecrow charged out of the field, running toward me. It was carrying the post like a spear. I dove out of the way as it launched the post at me, missing by inches and shattering the wind chimes behind me. I ran for the barn. I could hear the scarecrow's straw-filled limbs rustling behind me. I grabbed a pitchfork and jabbed it into the scarecrow's chest, but it didn't even flinch. It grabbed my arm, impossibly strong, and turned the pitchfork on me. Panicking, I fumbled in my pocket for my lighter. I flipped it open and set the scarecrow on fire. It let go and fled into the field, fully engulfed. The fire spread, and within an hour, the entire field was ablaze. When my dad came to pick me up, he saw the post sticking out of the wall and the burned field. He didn't ask what happened, but I could tell he knew. Maybe he even suspected what I now knew for certain, that the Scarecrow had killed his parents. We'll never talk about it. No one would believe us. Follow for more.